Hey, so I'm working on the save and load system for our game. And basically that deals with, if you save game and you quit, and then you come back in, you want to be in the same state as when you left. And the first step is to make kind of a basic UI, and so that's what I've done here. I thought I'd just let you know what I was planning on doing. So here we go. Um, so here it is. We have the play button. Well, settings is just a placeholder for now. I have no idea what I'm going to do for this. We have the accounts, which you'll be able to put in your account name and change accounts. I'm not going to deal with passwords or anything like that for a long time, at least not until I want to do multiplayer or anything like that. But for now, that's all that is going to be. And then for play, we're going to have a way for you to um, select your player and select your world, and you can say new player, new world. And once you have your world selected and once you have your player selected, you can just hit play and it'll go ahead and put game. And that is generally the whole flow. So I just wanted to let you know what I was planning on doing for this. And I will, you can see the trees are still spawning above me, so I have to, in fact, I bet I can fly up to them. I sure can. Obviously, this isn't how this is supposed to work, and I have to go fix this now. Hey everyone, so I've been doing some work, and I'm at a much better place than I was before. You can see that if I run here, I can play, I can change accounts, and I can access settings, which is right now, settings is just a placeholder. But I can play, and it'll prompt me for a new player if I don't have one, so let's make a player called Bob. Um, and we can accept that, and we'll make another world called Bob's World. And we can randomize the seed. We can also put in seed ourselves, and we can put in letters too. But if we push accept without letters, nothing happens. We have to make sure that we don't have letters in it. And that there's not a lot of feedback to the user right now. For example, if I delete Bob, it just immediately deletes him. There's no pop-up or anything like that. So I want to add that, but that's going to come later. For now, it's just a hard, fast delete. So we can select Bob's world, and Bob's, we're going to play with Bob on Bob's world, and we'll push play, and it's going to take us to a loading screen and give us an error, because that's how that's supposed to work. So that's cool. I'll be right back. I promise this was working just a second ago. So I fixed it. It was actually kind of a game-breaking bug, so I'm glad I found that. Don't worry about this. This is just Godot being hung. But I can play. I just let's do this again. Bob on Bob's World. And again, I can delete Bob, and this is what caused it to break last time. And I can push play, and you can see. Oh, I have to select first. Sorry. There we go. And I need to get better player feedback or user feedback or whatever, because that's not good to have it just don't note not do anything if you haven't selected your world. And you can see that now we are in fact in the game. And if I wanted to, I could rerun again, and I can also change to a different account. So I can say I want to change to account. Let's change to John's account, and now I'm in John's account. And of course, John doesn't have any saves. But if I change account back to admin, if I can spell it correctly, then theoretically, yep. So I spelled it correctly. So now we're back to having admin's world and also admin settings. So the settings are saved separately. And the reason why I have something like accounts right now is first to save different setting profiles, but also just to pave the way for multiplayer, because eventually we will have multiplayer. Not anywhere, not anytime soon, of course, but far in the future, I hope to have multiplayer. And so now the next thing to do is we are obviously loading data from various files, but we are not saving data. So that's the next thing to work on is I need to make it remember where the player was, and that kind of thing. And then also right now, you have this big save and quit thing. I need to actually make a proper UI for that and make it not be up in your face as soon as you spawn in. So I'm going to work on that now, and I will see you in a bit. Hey, so I just wanted to give you guys another update here. So just to show you guys what's going on. Um, I've pretty much finished up the save and load system in terms of general framework of it, so I can play as a tester in my testing world, and it will load for a second. And it doesn't usually give me the pinwheel of doom. Sometimes it does, but you can see that it didn't there. And it is saving the player's location. So if I walk over here some, um, I don't know how far it's going to be enough, but we'll walk over here. And it is laggy again just because I'm using OBS. Now I can save and quit my game, and it'll save everything, and I can quit from here instead of having to stop it in this menu over here. But if I run again, and I come back up, and I push play, and I play on the tester in the testing world, I can play, and it should spawn me in right back where I was before. And this time we did get the spinning circle, but only for a second. And as you can see, we are right back where we were before. And at the start of our clip, or at the start of this clip, I was all the way up here. If it would stop lagging, that would be phenomenal. But again, it is just lagging because I have OBS open in the background, and that kind of thing. So that's where we are right now. It's all working. Things that I have to do at this point, I need to transition a couple of things over to being to using the system that are not right now. For example, your inventories or your the effects that are on the player right now, or anything like that. Any number of things like that, really. So I have to do that. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I will see you in a bit. Hey everyone, so I'm back. Nothing works yet, but I figured out how I'm going to be saving and loading my um, uh, save folders, basically, I guess. So first of all, we're going to use packed scenes. So I can create a packed scene and then pack it with scene root and just it'll literally copy everything, the entire scene tree. And I could save that and call it good. I'm not going to do that. That's um, wasteful. um, but what I will do instead is use a combination of both the packed scenes if I'm using a scene, or I will also use something that I've made myself, which is a packed node, or I guess a better term would be a packed object, because um, the kicker with packed scenes is you have to use a node. You can't use an object. The packed node, though, which I think I should actually just change it to object here. Um, the idea behind packed object is it will do the same thing, but with any object. So it is passed an object and the properties underneath the object that you want to save. And actually, I can change this. So you don't even need to specify properties. It'll just do the properties that's not default. And then it will do, uh, it will store them and then it will pull them back out when you instance it. And so this can be done without having to make everything extend from node. Because there are things that just extend from reference or just extend from object and that kind of thing. And this will be able to save those pretty easily. So that's the plan. I haven't implemented any of this yet, but I have tested both of them. They do work. So I can implement them now when I'm ready to. So that's just a quick progress update there. By the way, never add an initializer function to a resource. Don't do this. Actually, this is fine. But if you, as soon as you require there to be a variable, as soon as you do that, then you can no longer load this kind of resource. And the reason why is because when you load a resource, Godot first has to create a resource. Basically, it creates a whole nother one of these, and then it copies the data from the save file back over onto this resource. So, for example, in this one, when when it loads it up, it starts by creating a whole nother. It reads the first line, and actually, let me show you. Let me show you this. if I can find, for example, this. So if I open up Visual Studio Code, um, if I find, if it reads this first line, and it says we are a resource, and it reads down here, and it says that we are this kind of resource. We are this packed node um, type here. And then what it does is it comes over here, and it this, um, goes to the script, and it makes another one. So it makes another one, and it initializes it. It initializes it, and then it comes back and it says for each uh, name here, it will override the original one. So um, it is it always has a script. That's what every resource has. But it also has save data. So it'll take save data here, and then it will copy that and it will paste it back onto the save data here. So that's how loading works, at least for Godot resources. Well, the problem is if you have an initializer that requires an argument, then when Godot goes to make the first object here that it's going to copy its values onto, it can't. It returns an error because it doesn't return an error; it just errors out because you haven't passed in the proper amount of args. So if you give it a default value, um, that works fine. The problem is you can't always assign a default value. So for example, this was dealing with objects. So if you give this an object and then you set it equal to null, then this won't actually work because, well, obviously if you have an object, you're calling stuff with objects on, which null doesn't have the same properties as an object. Um, and of course, if you just give it object dot new, then at this point you're not having any memory management. So um, and yeah, it's going to complain here. So obviously that isn't going to work either. So for some things you cannot use the initializer function. You have to use a separate initializer. That way it can be loaded. And I learned that the hard way, so I thought I'd keep you from the trouble. Um, but there you go. That is my plan. I'm going to use packed objects for objects, and then I'm also going to just use packed scenes for things that are a little bit more complex. For example, each chunk will probably be saved as a pack scene. And this isn't pack scenes aren't massive. Actually, they're really not bad at all in terms of their size because if a node has its default value, then it won't bother saving it because again, it's going to create another node before it loads the data from disk. So if I had let's say I had a chunk with a default value of chunk, if I have a default value of activated and ready, for example, which this is a bad example, but just for example, and it loaded it up, it was saving this to the to disk. It would only bother saving this if activated and ready wasn't false, because false is its default value. Um, so the result is actually not too bad at all in terms of size. So I probably am going to use the pack scene a lot, but for things like for example, an entity effect, which isn't a node, it extends reference, I believe. Um, those won't work with a packed scene, obviously, so I'm going to have to use a packed object for those. So that's why I have that too. And anyway, that was, I guess, my plan for how I'm going to actually implement saving. And with that, I hope that helps you. And I will implement this shortly, and I'll be back in a second. Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you a quick progress update. So everything is working now as far as I'm concerned. I did end up using the system that I talked about. I was just implementing it with using the pack scene. I didn't know, and so I'll tell you, if you're using a pack scene, you have to make sure to add a node, add a set the. If you're using pack scene to save your stuff, you have to use set owner. Otherwise, it won't work. And you can see that we're hitting a tree now. Um, and obviously, if I unload this area, which is going to lag because I'm running OBS in the background, of course. Those chunks are all now unloaded. And then if I come back into the area, then all of my trees are still going to be there, exactly how we wanted them to work. So all of the trees are now here. So that's working now, which is good news. I tell you what, it is so much fun to start another world, just to watch all of the terrain pop into place. Um, and it does work. I'm saving and all that, so that all works properly. So the next step is actually creating a new inventory system. In terms of a UI, obviously I already have the inventory guts done, if you will, but I have to make the UI for it. Um, and then I have to make a system that saves your inventory and then loads your inventory, and all of that. So that's what I'm going to work on next, and I will see you in a bit. Hello, everyone. Um, I've made some improvements, uh, and I'll start off here by just showing them. Let me make this full screen for us. So if I load in here, none of this information is being saved yet. This is still leading up to that. I have to make the UI for the inventory before I can start saving what's in the UI, um, obviously. So if I come up here and park my Batuski on this hill, and I open my inventory, you can see that we have an inventory being generated, and you can move around items just like you could before. Yep, just laggy because I'm using OBS in the background. But I can click on a potion, and its I can get its um, tooltip here, and I can click on the player, which isn't generating anything yet, but it has a tooltip here too. It's just a tooltip of an empty string for now. And I can click on anything like, again, gold is generating a tooltip, but it's just an empty tooltip. So I'll go back to potion here. But you have a player tab to see your player data, like how hot you are and that kind of thing. I don't know what's actually going to go in here, but I know that I want to have something. And then your item data, so this will have like tooltips, how much damage your weapon does, that kind of thing. And even like, let's see if I'm on this potion right here and I drop this potion, it does go away and all that. So that's all figured out. But there is a bug here, and if you're paying attention, you'll have seen it. If I pick up an item, it's actually rendering behind everything. And you can see it out here, it's all fine. Over here, it's rendering behind things. And I know what the problem is. I don't know how I'm going to fix it yet. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But I'm going to fix this so that this actually works. And then I'm going to make this over here is going to be kind of like your equipment. And I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. This over here will be like a interface for maybe a crafting station or something that you're looking at. And then this is like the inventory of a chest or something like that. I don't really know what these are going to be, and I'm just going to ignore them for now, honestly. But they are going to be used as soon as we have a use for them, I guess. And then down here, obviously, we have a HUD. So we're going to have probably like a hotbar right here, front and center. And then an offhand, maybe over here, I don't know. And then some equipable, or not equipable, but like consumables, quick use items over here. We're also going to have health, maybe on top of this. I really don't know what it's going to look like in the end, but I'm going to get working on that in a minute too. So we'll see. And then after all of that is done, that's when I deal with, saving and loading the stuff. Um, so yeah, I got that to work on after that. So a lot of things to do, um, and I have to get working on them. So yeah, the major thing is just fixing this, which I just don't know how I'm going to do this yet. But I will figure it out, I'm sure. So there we go. All right, I'm going to get working on it, and I will see you in a bit. All right, everyone, I'm here. It's been a little while. I've had some errors to deal with, some unintended um, side effects of saving and loading that were not good, but I've patched them up. And so now if we run, we can play. I'll just create a new world for the fun of it. Um, we are a tester playing on a testing world. One thing that I did fix, it used to be if you had them both selected and then you deleted one of them, um, it would break. And also I added the fact that it can be a random seed now, so that didn't used to be a thing. But now it used to be this wouldn't be valid, you couldn't play from here, but now you can. So I fixed that. Um, I'll go full screen here so that you guys can see it a little bit better. So now we have a brand new world. We got trees working, so that's really good. They're not the final tree. There's still a lot of work to do. There's not any shaders on them right now. It's just pure vanilla trees, and obviously you can see the um, two colors for the branches versus the trunk are very different. So we're still working on it, but this is our first iteration of trees. And you can see that we also have a problem where it's not rendering the backside of the leaves. So if you are underneath the tree, there aren't any leaves at all. But um, the that's where tree-wise, it's still coming along, but uh, we are making progress. So I am going to now actually I need to get to a landmark spot type ish just to prove that I'm saving and loading. So let's do right here. Actually, yeah, let's do right here. Right between these three trees on this little hill. Um, so if I open my inventory, um, I can drag items around. It is laggy because I'm running OBS in the background. Um, they're still rendering behind the um, inventory. I do not know what I'm going to do to fix that just yet, but that's just going to be something we have to deal with for now. And we have a tooltip column over here. I talked to our artist. We decided to move everything over here. It made more sense. So instead of having one tab panel over here and then one tab panel over here, we're just gonna have one big one over here. So we have empty item. We can look at potions, which have um, the only actual tooltip, and everything else is just normal. We also have an info column, which right now just displays our tester name, but over here is also going to be like information about, how much magic you have on you, what's your energy levels at, what's your temperature, blah 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 blah. Equipment is empty right now, but we're going to have equipment slots and armor slots and that kind of thing over here. I don't know how we're going to make an armor system just yet, but that's where this will be. And then cog settings, save and quit. We're gonna have other things like here, maybe an achievements button if we want to do like a lore button or like a open your notebook button or something like that over here. We might do that too, but it is a little bit empty right now. And settings doesn't do anything because I don't have any setting screens made yet. But we can save and quit. And when we come back in, we should have a gigantic branch interface. So we can save and quit, and this is going to bug me now because this isn't properly aligned. Cool. Um, that's annoying. But we can play. We can play tester on the testing world. We can push play, and suddenly we are right back where we were very quickly. Actually, it was not too difficult of a load time at all either. So I can fly over here, I guess. And I will save and quit again, and then this time close out of the game entirely. Just to show that that works. So I can quit game, and then I can run game again. And after I'm running, I can push, because right here you can see if I push back, it's aligned here, but it's not aligned when I go into full screen. Why? So I have to do some work with that. My guess is it's because everything's aligned to the upper left right now, which is annoying. So I have to use like view boxes and stuff, which I don't like to do. But um, that is fine, I guess. So I will use tester on testing world, and we will load in again. Get the pinwheel of death because I'm using OBS in the background. And voila, we're here. Right back where we were. So it works pretty well. I have to add in, obviously, the equipment area. I have to add in our hotbar, our offhand, our quick use items. I have to make a health bar over here. I don't know what other kinds of stats we want displayed out here. The stats that we don't want to have displayed on the HUD we'll have in info right here under tester. Or this really displays the player's name, so you can put whatever you want up there. But we will have that kind of thing. These are going to, this one's going to go away for sure. This one over here is going to be basically, it's basically just going to be a area for crafting. So we're gonna have different tabs for different kinds of crafting. And if you open up a crafting table, it'll probably just add a tab to it or something like that, or multiple tabs or whatever. So that's the plan, and I've got to get working on. Probably I'll do equipment in the hotbar next, and those kinds of things. And then after those are done, um, I'm going to get working on saving and loading up the actual data in the inventory itself, so that it's not continually generating random items every single time. So I will do that, and I will see you guys in a bit. All right, more progress has been made. I'll go ahead and run and show you guys what I've done. So first of all, there is no longer, or hopefully there's no longer, that issue where the quit game button was all the way over here and the settings button was all the way over here. That's all fixed now. And if I load into my testing world, I can show you guys, after I get in anyway. I've made some changes to the inventory. So first of all, things are now rendering on top finally. So um, it's no longer going behind the inventory, it's finally on top. And then secondly, we have equipment. So we can pick up equipment and we can move equipment around. And if you want to look at what their tooltip is, you can click on it and go look at the tooltip. So this is a potion. I go back and click on wood. I'm just going to say that I have an empty item because I haven't put a description in wood yet. So all of our equipment slots done. There's going to be more things. There's going to be like normal equipment and then armor and stuff over here. I don't really know the ins and outs of the system we're going to make yet, so I'm just trying to get things bare bones, if you will. And so that's what I've done. But we have like click on an item. I'm over at Cog, for example, and I click on this potion, it'll pull me over to the tooltip button. But if I'm on equipment and I click on a potion, it won't take me off of equipment. That was a problem that it had before, but it's all fixed. So the next thing that I'll work on is probably um, a very, very, very rudimentary crafting system, like literally just a tab here that says crafting TBD or something like that. And then I will work on the HUD. So I got to get a inventory or hotbar rather, a quick use items, an offhand, and then like a health bar or something. And these are just placeholders right now where it says equipment and armor. There's going to be a picture of the player right now with the equipment that he has on right here. I don't know what I'm going to do for that yet or how that's going to work. There's going to be, and then these things are just placeholder. I don't know what they're going to do or we're going to actually have here. Maybe have like how much magical energy you're emitting based off of all the stuff you're wearing. Maybe how much your total armor value is at this point or something like that. I don't know. But then again, those are both things that would usually be under info. So do I just display it twice? Do I find something special to put in there? I don't know. Just ideas. And yeah, so I'll go ahead and save and quit. And it will save, which might take a second, and it'll quit, and I'll quit game. But that's where I am now, and I'm gonna get back to work. Hey y'all, it's been a little bit since the last recording. It's actually been a few days. I've been on a camping trip, but I'm back, and I've just finished up some of the different UI elements. Making a new world just for the fun of it too. I'm a tester playing a test world, and I will select tester and test, and we will go play. Might take a second to generate the world here. Cool, we're in. We have a world, like always, and if I open up my inventory here, I added another button to do it, so now it's just not only escape, it's also E, but of course you guys can't see that. So if I take some items out of my equipment, which is super laggy because I'm running OBS, Um, and I'll try to put something like this back into my equipment. You see that it won't let me because obviously you can't equip a gold bar in one of your equipment slots. And just for debugging purposes, I have let the let's see here, the sword, I guess, is what this is right now. Um, the placeholder, still everything's placeholder, literally everything. But I let a sword be equipable, so a sword can be equipped. And then similarly down here, you can't put a gold bar in your consumables bar because you can't consume a gold bar, but you can put a potion on your consumables bar because obviously you can drink a potion. So now if I'll go ahead and close up my inventory and open and drink the potion, then I will fly up in the air, and there you go. So anyway, that's what things look like right now. As you can see, I took away the background right here from the tab container, and I think that's okay. If I want to have a background, I'd rather have a separate background for each area. Um, and I've also removed the little placeholder blue boxes here and here. Those are also tab containers. They're just invisible. I set their background to be completely blank. And the reason for that is because I plan on, just like if I want to open an inventory or whatever, then I'll just add a tab for that inventory, or I'll add a tab for that crafting area. So it's becomes expandable out of the box that way. Any kind of functionality like opening an inventory, closing an inventory, that can all be done with the visibility changed signal that is emitted whenever the tab container opens or closes a tab. So that's all going to be done automatically. So that's all that needed to be done UI wise for now. So I can go to my settings and I can push save and quit. And the major problem right now, of course, is saving and quitting isn't doing anything at all. Other than, oh, there you go. So isn't that interesting? I will work on this, and I still have a little bit of bug chasing to figure out. But the main deal is, of course, when I do save a game and save and quit, I need to actually save what's in the inventory and then load that back out. But unfortunately, this video is looking like it's going to be super long already, so I'm going to save that for next time. And next time I'm going to be doing a lot of polish, things like adding a health bar down here. I will probably be doing something with settings, redoing how I handle settings, polishing up, that kind of thing, adding a way to edit settings, and then of course saving and loading your inventory. And with that, those few final things will mark the end of the making the guts of the game, and then it's just adding content. So that's what's going on right now. I will say, if you try to, if you're making a game yourself, do the save and load system early, um, super early. Even if it's just saving and loading the player's location, figure that stuff out early. I am a because the more content you add, the more. I mean, I've added train generation and inventories and player position and movement and all these different things. Every single thing that you add that you want to save, you have to write the code to save it and load it. So it's a lot easier to write the code to save and load the player's position while you're making the player than it is to make 50 different features and then have to make all of them at the same time, make all of the code to save and load them at the same time. Um, I am pretty comfortable with grinding. I do a lot of grinding in video games. I like grindy games. Um, I like grinding. This was too much of a grind for me personally. It took longer than I would have liked, and it's. I'll be honest with you, saving and loading is interesting stuff, but it's also boring once you know what you're doing. And you're just, I mean, that too, and UI development to me is boring. I much prefer backend. So this has been a grind and a half for me. But it's almost done. I have some more work to do, but like I said, I'm going to do that in the next video. Otherwise, this is going to be hours and hours long. So, I guess with that said, I will see you guys next time, and thank you so much for watching.